The 7 pillars, the 7 truths on which we're going to talk about in these 6 weeks are, and I'll tell you what they are love, light, consciousness, substance, oneness, surrender, and joy. And today we're taking this instant is love. Did you feel that when Elliot spoke? That the instant was love and he was love. And what you talked about, Elliot, is that you can't just do love anymore. You have to be love. And that's what this whole energy is about. We are in a world right now, a beautiful world, an amazing world, but we can no longer just do the truth. We have to be the truth. We have to live it from the core of our being. And my challenge to every one of you and to me for this short journey is to make this a commitment to yourself and to life, because you were each given a little card here as you came in, and I'm going to read it to you. You can get it in a minute, but it says, if you could only love enough, you would be the happiest and most powerful being in the world. Because love transforms everything. And it's not something we have to get, it's something we already are. And when we stand on these pillars of truth, it's amazing how life supports us. I had a FedEx package. Actually, Kirk and I and Reverend Bobby and Reverend Bill were at a minister's gathering this week down in San Diego, so I wasn't here the majority of the week. And I had a FedEx package on my desk when I came in on Saturday. And it was a gift from someone who was a congregant here and moved away. And he had been at a Matthew Fox lecture about Matthew Fox's new book, Hildegard of Bingen. And he sent me the book and had Matthew Fox sign it. And this woman, who is now Saint Hildegard of Bingen, she was canonized in 2012, is a 13th century mystic, a Catholic mystic. And she is a beautiful being that teaches about the divine feminine, but not about the divine feminine alone, about the divine feminine in balance with the sacred masculine, and how our world is calling for balance, a balance of rational thinking and intuitive knowing, a balance, and we're calling for that. And it was just as things work, the shaman word of this month is balance. So I'd like to open with a reading in the introduction of the book, and this is a reading from Hildegard of Bingen, and she is a herald of the divine feminine, the green prophet. She's very much for taking care of our earth, and the church reformer. She's here to find equality with people. And she said this, I heard a voice speaking to me. The young woman whom you see is love. She has her tent in eternity. It was love which was the source of this creation. In the beginning, when God said, let it be, it was love, and it was. As though in the blinking of an eye, the whole creation was formed through love. The young woman is radiant in such a clear, lightning-like brilliance of the countenance that you can't even look at her fully. She holds the sun and moon in her right hand and embraces them tenderly. The whole of creation calls this maiden Lady, for it was from her that all of creation proceeded. Since love was the first, she made everything. Love was in eternity and brought forth in the beginning of all holiness, all creatures, without any mixture of evil, are made in love. And that's what we are talking about today, is about the power of love in our own lives and how we can transform and stand on that pillar no matter what is going on. Let me tell you a few quotes for this instant in love. The Bible tells us God is love, and they that dwell in love dwell in God, and God in them. Ernest Holmes said that love is the central flame of the universe, the very life, the very fire itself. It is that irresistible urge that pulls us to something greater. And I'm sure all of us feel in most moments that there's this urge inside us for something more. Do you feel that? There's something more that wants us, oh, what am I supposed to do? It's calling me, and it's simply a call to expand into the love that's already there. The love that is wanting us to be. And as Rumi said, thank you for that, Elliot, that love is the bridge that connects all people, all things. And Rumi also said, and I'll just preface this by saying, how many feel like your lives are a little bit busy? And maybe hardened a little bit? You don't have to raise your hand on that, but we live in a world that's gotten a little bit hard because there's so much we're bombarded with in a single day. There's so much that we have to protect ourselves. And so some of us can feel that we live in a somewhat hardened world, but I want to tell you that there are so many openings for us to love more. Rumi says, love is pulling us out by the ears to school. Love wants us clean of resentment. Love wants us clean of resentment and those impulses that misguide our life. The impulses that misguide us, that pull us off track, that make us forget that we are made in love, that God, Lady, Infinite Spirit, whatever you want to call that energy, is love, and we're made from that. We are asleep. And the same thing Hildegard of Bingen said. Rumi, 13th century mystic, Hildegard, 13th century mystic, she said, all we have to do is wake up. And that's the same thing Rumi says, we are asleep. But God keeps sprinkling water on our faces. Keeps sprinkling water on our faces. Love will tell us the rest of what we need to know soon. Love will tell us the rest of what we need to know. We don't need to worry about it. It's already there. We simply need to create the opening to learn that love is all there is, and we are here to be that expression, that this and every instant is love. Just say, this instant is love. I'm in this instant. Therefore, I am love. Okay, and next time you say it to yourself, I want you to believe it, okay? Because it's important we can get to that place. We have all these little frailties, but I want you to tell you the beauty. We based our curriculum and our weekly talks on a book by Reverend Dr. Roger Teal. He is the minister of the Mile High Center in Denver. And his book is This Life is Joy. So he has the pillars that we need to stand on that I mentioned. And he also talks about the portals that give us a good kick in the fanny to get us through to the other side where we can be living the truth. And let me tell you what the portals are. The portals that we'll be talking about, and these are a little different, as I said, than when we might be thinking of what a portal to spirit is. Fear, problems, judgment, conflict, disease, change, uncertainty, risk, and desire. Wow. Those aren't quite what I was thinking of. I want a miracle. But that's where miracles start. I remember when Peggy Bassett, Reverend Peggy Bassett at the Huntington Beach Church of Religious Science, big church, she was an archetype in our movement, and she got Lou Gehrig's disease. And her congregation that loved her so much couldn't understand how someone that spiritual could get so sick. And she said, I didn't hear her say it in person, but I certainly heard that CD she explained so many times. She said, I have never felt closer to God than in my illness. What a lesson for us. Life doesn't always look the way we think it should, but everything is an opening for us to see things in a new way. You know, what's happened, I believe, and this is the balance thing, we've gotten in this Western culture, when there's a problem, what do? Guys, louder. Fix it! If there's a problem, we fix it. We make it better. We do what needs to be done. We push through it. Am I right? And girls, I say yes, I would say the same thing. I mean, you fix it. But do we take the time to balance that with the intuitive knowing? Do we take a moment to just breathe and let our life work together? Because we get hardened when we just have the masculine input, that strong, wonderful masculine energy, and we all have it all inside of us, but we get hardened if that's all we do. And I don't just mean the guys, I mean the girls too, who when we just push forward in our life and push, and isn't that a lot what our culture tells us to do? Do it, make it happen, get it done. And we forget that we're a fluid being and we're here to bring the love into the rational mind and bring the intuition into the doing and the being into the doing. And we need it all. So it's really about softening ourselves so we can really touch this instant is love. Take a breath. I'm afraid when we just keep our minds and focus on the doing, we don't take the time to love ourselves enough. And when we get a little hardened, we start getting hard on ourselves. And love, we can't give what we don't have. And if you and I don't love ourselves first, we can't possibly be in that loving energy that heals this world. We can't. Our mind, how many of you love your mind? I love my mind. And our mind is the greatest treasure. Our mind can co-create with God. Our mind can be creative and it can pull us out of difficult situations. And our mind is wonderful. I love my mind until it becomes my enemy. And it starts placing judgments and limited definitions on myself and other people. Then my mind becomes my enemy. And it's not serving me to live this instant as love. It's serving me to cast judgments on other people. Now let me tell you something about love. The love that Mother Teresa talks about, the love that Hildegard of Bingen talks about, that everyone on this wall talks about, the Dalai Lama, Albert Einstein, Howard Thurman, all of these people talk about, Martin Luther King, is not a love that's emotional or mental or sexual. It's a love that is pure. It's true unconditional love. It's a love, now this is a hard test, guys, because it doesn't have neediness. It doesn't make demands. It doesn't have, well, if I F you. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have all that. True love loves no matter what. So here's a test for you this week. It's a hard test. And when I say this is our adventure in spirit, I'm going to give you some little things that sound easy. Well, they're easy, but they're not easy to do. I want you to go home today. And I want you to make a list and see if all the people in your life, especially those that you love the most, you can tell them, I love you without any price tag, without any demands. I love you simply because you're you. That's your test this week. And you know what? We think it's simple, but that mind that's our treasure, it can do some tricks on us. So will you do that for me? Will you do it? And if you can't do it, you can write a letter. And if you can't write a letter, you can send a text. And if you can't even do that, just put it in the consciousness. I love you no matter what. And you know what? It's not just a great gift to you. And it just doesn't happen to people that are alive. Love is eternal. Love never dies. The soul is eternal. So these are messages that we give people here or not here. That we can melt ourselves enough into that place that we can say, I love you without those price tags, without those demands, without those expectations. Now, Mother Teresa made it a little bit easier. She said, love everybody. Find the God in them, the good, the light in them, and love that. Nothing else. Love that. Now, this love thing doesn't mean you have to spend all your time with these people. It just means you have to love people, okay? We just need to love them from the essence of our being. It's the vibration of love we're talking about. Mother Teresa said, you just find the God in people and love them. And don't focus on anything else. Now, we have that mind that says, that part of that person is not something that I want to spend a lot of time with, and that's okay. But we love them anyway. We love them anyway. Now, this love that we're talking about is the essence of life. And you and I were created to belong, to evolve, and to give back. And so when we say this instant is love, this being is light, the light is how we express that divine spark within us that holds all of the truths, that divine spark that is God, that is infinite intelligence, that is creative potential, that is whatever, the awakened one, whatever you want to call it. We need to wake ourselves up. Light, what good is a candle if you don't light it? You don't let it do its purpose, give its gifts. Now, Rumi had a beautiful thing to say that I love about the light. He said, he didn't say this, but I said soften. Soften your face. Right now, soften your face. Because what he did say is the heart and the face are deeply connected. Isn't that interesting? The heart and the face are deeply connected. You can see the heart's light in the face. That's why smiles can melt someone and make their day. That's why just a happy look, just looking in appreciation or understanding can change someone's life. He says, you can see the heart's light in the face. Ligaments of light hold the world together. Ligaments of light hold the world together. This is an ocean of light with walking flames inside each individual. That's our divine spark. That's what connects us. That's why when I said we need each other, it's when my spark in me recognizes your spark and we can light a room, light a world, light whatever, because we recognize that goodness that Mother Teresa talked about. Just see that light, that God in someone, and love that. You don't have to focus on the rest. He goes on to say, eventually, the light of the soul and the light of the actual sunlight will become one. If we choose to live in that light, we can let that be the driving force in our life. Now, Rabbi Heschel says, humanity will be saved not by more information. Although we love that part. Wikipedia, we can find the answer anywhere. I love that part. But humanity is not going to be saved by that. Humanity is going to be saved by appreciation. When we start appreciating more, when we start caring for ourselves more, when we start realizing that there's contemporary mystics, whether they're poets like Mary Oliver or theologians like Howard Thurman or whoever they are, there are mystics all around us that we can read and ignite something more within us, that we can start appreciating life in a better way. So along with this lesson about telling someone you love them with no price tags, no demands, no whatever, it's also about seeing the light in yourself and appreciating it in others. Appreciating it in you too, but seeing that, because once we appreciate the love that we are, once we light that candle, that spark in us, we can start loving and lighting the world in a more beautiful place. Rumi also said, when I love myself, I can love you. And when you love me, I can love myself. And that's what the light does when we light this world. I want you, right now, I'm going to invite you just to take a nice breath and just open yourself to the openings of all that's in your life, whether they're the openings of love and light and beauty and perfection and miracles, or those beautiful portals and opportunities that can expand us into a greater knowing and understanding that something more wants to be known and felt and heard. They can be fear. They can be anger. They can be imbalance. Whatever it is, it's a message. It's the school that we're in to teach us that there's always something more at work. We can break away from the fears of the ego and the judgments of the mind and all of the collective consciousness that keeps us stuck, we have the power to use that mind to appreciate there's always something more at work. And right now we have the opportunity to melt into the goodness that's already there. It's not something we have to seek. It's something we need to become as we let go of all those false thoughts and misunderstandings that have made us feel separate, where we believe love is out there instead of in here. Oh, just breathe into that. And as we have our eyes closed, if you feel so called, I'm going to share a little story that's in the book, and I want you to give yourself that test. There was an acclaimed professor, and he was walking down the halls of his college, and he looked and he saw 2 doors. And on one door, there was a sign, love, room of love. And the other door said, lecture on love. And of course, this acclaimed professor didn't miss a beat and walked right into the lecture. He missed being love to learn about love. So right now, if you can just breathe in and allow yourself to let the white sparklies, the little sparkles that are the divine light, that creative urge within us, the God essence, the infinite wisdom, and let that move in us as we meld the sacred masculine, the part of us that does and works and accomplishes, with that beautiful divine feminine that knows how to be receptive, intuitive, and let them meld together until there's a beautiful balance inside. And in that beautiful place is where inner growth truly happens. It is in that place where the light shines so brightly. And of course, we can't do this alone. So if we have our light shining, if we have our love awakened, if we have our acceptance of who we are and who we're becoming, breaking through all the confines of biases we have in this physical existence, break it down and know that who we are is absolutely perfect and who we are becoming is absolutely perfect. And so as we know that and share that, just give yourself a little squeeze and give the person next to you just their hands a little squeeze, because it's important that we get this message. We need each other. We need each other to know love. We need each other to know light. We're not designed or meant to do this alone. So, did you get it? Okay, this instant is, this being is, and so am I, and so are you. We're in this together.